Okay, recording in progress. So this is the first class for our AS class, and we're gonna talk about the stuffs that we're gonna do. আচ্ছা, first thing first হচ্ছে যে আমরা O levels এ যে জিনিসপত্রগুলো শিখছি, everything that we have learned in our O level syllabus, or at least we are supposed to learn in our syllabus. Maybe all of us did not learn everything. We cannot afford to forget those. Most of these stuffs will be required, especially for the whole mechanics part. You're going to require the entire mechanics part for our AS syllabus. Um, you're not going to require the thermal section of your O levels for your AS syllabus. Thermal would be showing up once again in the A2 syllabus in a much detailed format. And then waves would be in a much more detailed level. Electricity would be at a much more detailed level. Radioactivity would be somewhat detailed, but not so much. The mains, we actually have main 6 topics over here. Let me just write those names. Black would be good. We have the way I prefer to break down the syllabus is the first we have measurement. We have a whole topic that is dedicated for how to do measurement and uncertainties. I mean, the reliability of a measurement and stuff like those. The second topic that I go for is kinematics and momentum. This is basically the whole thing related to the motion stuffs, the formula, the graphs, and then we also have the projectile motion, the two-dimensional motion for objects thrown into space, which moves under gravity. And then we also have some calculation for momentum, conservation of linear momentum, and for two-dimensional momentum, angular cases, stuffs like those. And obviously, the vector diagrams that we have learned in our O level syllabus are also included for this part, so that goes without saying. The next part that I usually go for is C is elasticity, or this is, hold up, this is number 1, this is 2. I think number 3 is forces and moment. Yes, forces and moment. আচ্ছা, এইভাবে অ্যাকচুয়ালি লেখা পসিবল না, আমার এটা প্রচুর নড়াচড়া করতেছে, so I need a support thing. What do I have? I have a box.
সেটা আপনার ওয়ার্কশপ
না, জিনিসটা
রুমের মতো?
হ্যাঁ, বুঝি নাই।
আপনার আসলে অনেক জিনিসপত্র, ইনস্ট্রুমেন্টাল জিনিসপত্র পড়ে আছে।
ও না না, দিস আর আমার বাসায় অ্যাকচুয়ালি রিনোভেশন চলতেছে কিছু, বাসায় কিছু ওয়াল আলমারি বানানো হয়েছে, কাবার্ড বানানো হয়েছে। পিছনে যেগুলো আছে সেগুলো হচ্ছে সবই বাসার জাঙ্ক। আমাদের বাসায় প্রচুর জাঙ্ক আছে, কারণ আমরা প্রচুর জাঙ্ক নিয়ে নড়াচড়া করি। আর হচ্ছে এই যে আমি ঢাকা থেকে আসার পর আর প্রচুর জাঙ্ক নিয়ে আসছি, সো ওইগুলা একটা ঝামেলা আর কি।
স্যার, ঢাকা কি বাড়ি ছেড়ে এসে পড়ছেন?
বুঝি নাই।
ঢাকা কি আপনার বাসাটা ছেড়ে দিয়েছেন?
ইয়েস,
ওই কারণে বলি, কোচিং এ ব্যাট দেখছি।
So yeah, so forces and moment is the third chapter that we have. Number 4, we have work energy power. Work energy power is very simple. This work energy power happens to be the smallest chapter of the whole syllabus, in my opinion. The actual new stuff that you have to learn is very small, but the MCQs can prove to be very interesting from the work energy power chapter. For some MCQs, that is. Number 5, we have elasticity. এইগুলা মিলে হচ্ছে আমাদের বেসিক নিউটনের মেকানিক্স, এই টপিকগুলা মিলে। এরপর হচ্ছে এরপর 6 নাম্বার আছে হচ্ছে 6 নাম্বার মনে হয় কিছু নাই। আচ্ছা, 6 নাম্বার একটা টপিক ছিল, সেটা আপাতত বাদ গেছে। 7 নাম্বার হচ্ছে ওয়েভস, 8 নাম্বার হচ্ছে সুপারপজিশন অফ ওয়েভস। আমি এই দুইটা ওয়ার্কশিটকে আলাদা করছি। I have made these 2 worksheets different because I felt like it just to make the whole thing slightly smaller. But for your syllabus volume, these 2 chapters question can actually come together. So there can be questions of both of these topics, either of these topics, in a single question. The only reason I have them divided into 2 different worksheets is for the sake of easier workability. So there is no reason you have to you should consider that they are different chapters. They're the same chapter, only divided into 2 parts for the sake of easier working. So এই দুইটা মিলে হচ্ছে waves. If I write over here, number 9 হচ্ছে, do we have static? We don't have static. Do we have static? Yeah, electric field. We don't have static. In this case, we call it electric field. And then in number 10, we have DC. This is once again divided into two parts because this is one of the most big chapter of the whole syllabus, DC. DC and number 2, এই দুটো হচ্ছে মোটামুটি সবচেয়ে বড় চ্যাপ্টার, and number 11 is atomic physics. এখন নাম্বার 6 এ কি হচ্ছে, নাম্বার 6 এর কাহিনীটা বলতেছি। Number 6 used to be a chapter which was properties of material, which used to deal with the atomic level or the deep down structural ways for how materials are created and how their physical properties, exhibit properties are affected by their atomic level structure. This chapter was based upon that. It was named properties of materials. CIE happens to have discarded this syllabus, this chapter from the syllabus. In replacement, they have brought in some basic concepts regarding pressure, barometer, manometer, atmospheric pressure distribution, the density of stuffs, a little bit of application for the Archimedes principle, not in its equation form, but some conceptual variation for that. So we have those things which was included in the syllabus. Well, I'm going to talk about this syllabus change over here. I am yet to prepare the final worksheet of this chapter, so this worksheet is not yet prepared, but the content is actually very small, and in most cases you only have MCQ questions from this new chapter, not so much of paper 2 questions, not that I've seen, not even in the recent years or since this chapter was introduced in the syllabus. So I'm not very bothered about the content of the syllabus. I'm going to teach this anyway, but you might not have a designated worksheet for this. I'm going to mark you some question papers, some questions from the recent year question papers, that these are the MCQs and stuffs which we're going to work with for this chapter and the topic and so on and so forth. That's basically the core outline of the whole syllabus. And I'm going to go in a orderly fashion because I hope in your school also they're going to follow an orderly fashion. This is the first thing about the syllabus content, and then the next thing that I would like to talk about is how the question is, how time frame and the marks distribution. You have 3 papers to appear for in your AS syllabus. You have paper 1, which is basically MCQ. In there you have 40 marks. You have to answer these 40 questions in 1 hour 15 minutes. Then you have P2, which is a structured question, or the written paper, which is structured question. You have 60 marks in it, but you still have the same time, 1 hour 15 minutes for this exam as well. And then you have P3, which is the lab, and in your AS syllabus, lab is a compulsory paper. There is no alternative to practical kind of thing. You have to appear for the lab experiment, and this is a 40-mark exam. There will be 2 questions, 20 and 20, so total 40 marks, and you'll be having 2 hours for this A lab exam. Altogether in your AS syllabus, you have a total of 140 marks. That's for your A levels. For your AS, the 3 papers. On the other hand, if you go for A2, I'm talking about this A2 to give you a bit of understanding for the marks distribution of the 2 levels. On the A2, you have paper 4, which is another structured paper. This is a 100-mark exam that goes on for 2 hours. And then you have P5, which is sort of like a laboratory paper, but it is all theoretical. You don't have to deal with any laboratory equipment in this exam, but you have to write detailed procedure for how to design an experiment. For example, for the P5, if I ask you that, let's say I want you to find out the gravitational acceleration G, value of G, by 2 different methods. Let's say I want you to find out the G value by the dropping of a solid ball through air. So you're going to be using, for that equation, you're going to be using H proportional to T squared, that relationship maybe. And then I want you to find out the same value of G by another experiment, let's say by a simple pendulum, where you're going to be working with the T squared proportional to L. So that's also another equation. So using these 2 proportionalities, you might have to find out the value of G. So your task might be maybe within the same question you have to do with both the experiment, or maybe for one of the experiment you have to give detailed outline for how to approach this problem. What are the equipments you're going to require, how you're going to set up the apparatus, how you're going to, what equipment, what measuring techniques you're going to follow, what measuring equipments are going to be involved for that process, and during the measurement what kind of precaution and carefulness you should be following, and also how many times you have to repeat a certain experiment. If you are, and I mean, the entire aspect of actually doing the whole laboratory experiment is what you're gonna have to go for this paper. So this is what we call planning and execution, something like that. Planning something. I forgot the full name of this paper, but that's one part of the question. And then this is the first question of this whole paper. There are actually two questions. This is actually a 30-mark paper. You have to appear for this paper in 1 hour duration. 30 marks, and then this is 100 marks and 30 marks.
Right. Will there be any kind of mark conversion, like 140 to 100 or something like that?
Yeah, I'm going to talk about that. Just give me a little bit of time. So,
Okay.
So in question number 1, you have to do the whole planning question, and there is a question number 2 where you have to do some analysis. You'll be given a whole table of pre-existing data. Then you have to show some high amount of dexterity for how to process some collected data for a certain experiment. So these are the two questions. This paper is actually quite interesting. It's a totally new thing that you haven't done yet, and it actually requires, according to CA recommendation, kids should actually do some rigorous amount of laboratory works to do well in P5. But it's possible to also have good marks in P5 other than having this experiment, because a lot of the tutorials and animations and actually done experiment videos are available in internet, YouTube, and everywhere else. And if you know how to operate with the equipments and some very basic general principles, you should be able to do good in P5. If it is a new paper, new design paper, I'll help you to do this as well. So so anyway, that comes in the upcoming year, so you don't have to bother about this for the time being. So I'm gonna write this. This is a sort of planning paper, planning and evaluation. So altogether you have 130 marks over here. So you should be seeing that there's a bit of a difference in marks. Here you have 100 marks and here you have 130 marks. The way CA works with these papers is that they convert this whole 140 marks into 50% of the total weight of the A-levels physics, and they convert this 130 marks into another 50%. And then they merge this total to 50% and gives you a total grade upon completing your A2 paper when you carry forward your AS papers to your in your examination process. Because this is a little bit of less mark and this is a little bit of more mark, whenever the weighted percentages are given, typically what happens that, I mean, think about it. AS marks has more raw marks, A2 has less raw mark. So in terms of percentage based weight, the A2 mark happens to carry further. So this usually goes out for about 48%, and this usually goes out for about 52% in terms of the raw mark evaluation. So this actually you can find out in the syllabus as well. If I just show you the syllabus. These are some pretty basic preliminary stuff. So for some of you might actually find this boring. It is boring. I totally agree that this is actually quite boring, but I'm still taking the time to explain you this stuff because I'm going to explain this only once for the first class, and I'm not going to be explaining this every single one, the other classes. So just once is not a very big deal, I believe. And if you have a good grip on understanding that how much mark are you gonna get for this paper, then you can actually have a good understanding for how you're gonna have it. You can have it all. You can have a look over here. You can see that paper 1 is 31% of the AS level, which is 15.5% of the total A levels. Paper 2 is 46% of the AS level, for 20% of the A level, and then this one. So if you add these three, 15.5 plus 23 plus 11.5, how much do you get? You should get exactly 50%. So this entire AS paper is taken to be whole 50% of the whole paper. And then for the paper 4, you have 30.5% of the A level and 11.5% of the A level. So this whole thing is also another part. And then we have, what is this distribution of the percentages? Achha, you don't have to bother about this stuff. This is just, Achha. আচ্ছা এখানে টেবিলটা নাই যে টেবিলটা আমি খুঁজতেছিলাম। Disregard that. You don't have to actually know this table. What you have to know that you have to be able to do good in all the papers to have a good result in overall good result in the actual exam. One thing is very important. What goes on is that the way I consider this is that in AS you have 3 papers. You have 40, 60, and 40. You cannot actually disregard any of the weight of any of the papers, because if you mess up any of the papers, you actually can get slowly less and less mark. So being serious from the very beginning is pretty important. And also, if you have any trouble, you can always ask me, because I'm currently actually situated in Chittagong. So I don't think I'll be taking your P3 classes, but I can have all the equipments sent to me here. You can do your P3 classes as per your convenience to other lab teachers, whoever offers them, or you can be if you're okay with it, doing it with your school, you can also do it with your school as well. It's up to you. But at any point of time, if you have any difficulty dealing with any of the experiment that you find that the equipments or arrangement is not helping you, you can always ask me in some other time, so we can make time. I'll make time for you to help understand how to do a certain experiment, how to take a certain reading. There are certain very small type of approaches towards things which can actually help your lab experiment go really fast and really well. And one other thing that I should tell you before I start actually getting to the theoretical aspect is that in many of the cases in your lab, wherever you do practice this, in your school or to some other teacher for your lab courses, one of the things that you might always feel to deserve, that you'd feel in your head that we deserve this, that the apparatus should be arranged for you as much as possible, as much as the question tells you, which you are supposed to have. There is no question about this. But if you know how to set up the apparatus for a certain experiment, let's say you are supposed to do an experiment, and the way a certain experiment is arranged by say is that they give us they give the examination centers a list of the possible apparatus for the variant of the question of that year, and the responsible teachers or the lab technicians, they're supposed to arrange all those equipments in good condition. And then on the day before, the night before the actual exam, let's say the exam is going to happen on Sunday morning, and so on Saturday night, the exam invigilator actually gives, or on this in the Sunday morning, they actually get the actual instruction paper, the which we call the secret paper. It's not a secret paper. What is it? Confidential information, CI, confidential information paper, where it tells us that how to set up the apparatus. So they're going to set up the apparatus for you, and from that point onwards, you should eventually get the actual question in your hands when you actually sit for the exam. So the reason I'm telling you this is that if you kids know how to set up the apparatus while you have the list of the apparatus, and you know how to make the whole thing step by step, and then slowly go ahead to use the apparatus to take your data, it would be always far more achieving conceptual growth for you for the lab equipment. The teachers are definitely responsible to set up the apparatus to a certain level, and you are supposed to have them ready at a certain level. But if they don't, or even if they do, and you are the second group of a certain apparatus setup, where the first group actually left the apparatus unorganized, and you actually know how to handle a messed up lab situation apparatus, and if you have the dexterity and the capability built within yourself, you can always do fast, reliable data collection from your equipment. So if in cases your lab equipments are not properly arranged, don't lose your calm and don't scream out to your teachers. Try to make things work. Try to visualize that. Fine, I have these equipments in my hands. So what is the most likely scenario that I'm going to deal with? If it's a balancing experiment, how we can do the proper balance? If it's a string-based experiment, then how many readings are you going to plan? And how do you change the variability for the independent variable for the dependent variable? So I'm going to teach, help you understand all of these parts for the table charts and the uncertainty calculation for the P3 paper, which is going to be a bit of theoretical from my end because I'm currently in Chittagong. However, if it's possible for me to offer some mock exam at the end of our course, near close to the end of the course, and if I can once again shift back to Dhaka, then we might actually go for the mocks. But I'm not holding my hopes onto that. My health got really deteriorated, and so that's why, yeah, I'm actually here. So Sadman actually asked us a question that is it like O-level P4? That was for the
P5 you were saying.
Yeah, P5 is somewhat like O-levels P4, but at a much more deeper understanding level and a much more deeper explanation level as well. But yeah, you can say it's a bit like P4 because you are trying to with a situation with that essentially involves lab equipments, but you do not actually handle lab equipments for that paper. You have to write about how to use those equipments in a proper and orderly fashion.
Yes,
sir.
understood.
হ্যাঁ বলো।
So O level যে আমরা ল্যাব করি না, এটা কি আমাদের অনেক এফেক্ট করবে?
Yes, sir.
O levels এ তোমরা ল্যাব করো না, this is not essentially true. তোমরা স্কুলে কিছু ল্যাব করছো, তোমরা হয়তো eventually
অনেক কম।
হ্যাঁ অনেক কম হতে পারে বলতেছি। O levels এ যে তোমরা ল্যাব করো নাই সেটা তোমাদের আলটিমেটলি A levels এ গিয়ে এফেক্ট করবে না। I'm telling you a solid no and hear me out for the explanation. O levels এ এমন প্রচুর স্টুডেন্ট থাকে যারা শুধু P4 পরীক্ষাটা দেয় for the sake of convenience, for the sake of preferences, for the sake of easier going, because O levels এ অনেকগুলা সাবজেক্টের অনেকগুলা পেপার থাকে, so kids usually have some people have less time to appear for the lab courses, and also it can also prove to be a financial constant for some people to appear for the lab course for all the science subjects. Irrespective of the actual scenario, people who do not appear for the actual lab courses do not do it apart from their only school proceedings, they appear for the P4 course, they can do really good in A levels paper 3 as well, provided they are willing to learn. Here's the thing, everything that you are supposed to be able to do in your ASP3 paper, you have enough time and equipment and expertise, and your teacher should be able to teach you that properly within this time frame. There is enough time for that. If you have a hard time learning, you should not pivot that difficulty onto the scenario that আমরা তো O levels lab করি নাই, ওই জন্য আমাদের এস এত কষ্ট হইতেছে, এই কষ্ট তো দূর হবে না, হ্যাঁ আমরা তো doomed. If you have a mindset like that, you are never going to learn properly. But if you have a mindset that fine, we did not do lab, that was a situation, COVID was unexpected, but it happened. But since the problem is at hand, we're going to solve it in our own fashion with our own capabilities. Then you can always learn better and you can always do good. It all comes down to the point how you want to look at it. Do I make sense?
স্যার আমি তো লাইফে যাইও নাই ল্যাবে কখনো।
বুঝি নাই।
আমি তো কখনো ল্যাবে যাইও নাই, ফিজিক্স কেমিস্ট্রি ল্যাবে যাইও নাই কখনো। O level বলেন।
সো বাট তোমার এস এর জন্য তোমার ল্যাব করা লাগবে। তুমি যে স্কুলে রেজিস্ট্রেশন করছো অথবা হচ্ছে ঢাকায় যদি কোনো স্যারের কাছে এখন কোচিং করো, you need to sign up for some lab practices. কারণ A levels এর ল্যাবে কোনো অল্টারনেটিভ পেপার নাই। You have to actually, if the exam happens, I mean I still have to say if, because I am disheartened to say this if, but I have to say this if because of COVID, that if exam happens, you have to be able to handle actual lab equipments.
স্যার লাস্ট 4 মান্থসের মধ্যে ল্যাব করা হতে পারবে? কারণ আমার তো মনে হয় না এই ইয়ার খুলবে।
তোমার কথা খুব হালকা আসতেছে, আর একটু জোরে বলতে হবে।
স্যার মানে যদি এই ইয়ার ফিজিক্যাল ক্লাসেস না নেওয়া হয়, লাস্ট 4 মান্থস কি ল্যাব কমপ্লিট করা যাবে?
কার সাথে?
স্যার মানে যেভাবেই হোক, স্কুল থেকে বা অন্যভাবে, মানে ওই 4 মান্থসে কি এস দেওয়ার মতো ল্যাব বোঝা যাবে?
আচ্ছা, এখানে আমি তোমাকে জিনিসটা বলি, সেটা হচ্ছে যে তুমি যদি লাস্ট 4 মান্থসে ল্যাব করে ল্যাবে পুরো কোর্সে উঠাইতে চাও, then I am assuming that you are willing to give that amount of time and you are willing to give that amount of effort, irrespective of your mock pressures or other subject pressures. You are willing to invest that amount of time and effort. But the question lies, তুমি যার সাথে ল্যাবটা করবা, সেটা তোমার স্কুল হোক, তোমার কোচিং সেন্টারের কোনো টিচার হোক, বা তোমার কোনো সিনিয়র বড় ভাই বোন হোক, ওই পারসন ওই 4 মাসে তোমার যে ইন্টেনসিভ কেয়ার লাগবে ওই পরিমাণ ইন্টেনসিভ কেয়ার তোমাকে দিবে কিনা বা দিতে পারবে কিনা কন্টিনিউয়াস বেসিসে, দ্যাটস এ কোশ্চেন। বিকজ ইফ ইউ আর putting your hope onto someone, maybe that's me, maybe that's someone else, maybe that's your school, if they decline or they are incapable for whatever reason to provide the intensive care within that 4 months for you to be able to do that, then you are going to be in a troublesome situation. In my opinion, it's not impossible. It's very much possible to take over the entire lab course within a duration of 4 months if you do, let's say, 3 classes per week, or maybe 2 classes per week is also good, but 3 classes per week for a 4-month duration, I'd say, is optimum. You do 2 experiments every class, so that's like 3 4s are 12, 12 experiments per month. So within 2 months, you're gonna have 24 experiments done. Ideally, that's a very much manageable and achievable situation. But the question lies that people with who you are doing these experiments and taking the course on, are they capable to, and are they going to be able to continue providing that support at that intensive level for that 4 months without miss? That's a variability that you have to deal with. Whereas if you start pretty early, let's say if you start from August, September, something like that, then you have a lot of leeway in terms of time availability. So if some classes get missed, you don't have to freak out. I hope that makes sense.
Thank you.
All right, so that's pretty much about the whole marking things. One thing I would like to tell you that for this P1 MCQ paper, you have a total of 75 minutes and you have to answer 40 marks question over here. So you have nearly 2 minutes, slightly less than 2 minutes for each question. If your preparation is good, kids, hear me out on this one. This is very important for you to understand. I've told you this in your O-levels as well, and this is also coming for the S level as well. Out of these 40 questions that you're gonna have to answer for the paper on paper, if your preparation is well, now this is a big if your preparation is well means that you have gone through the regular course of the syllabus, you have appeared for your class tests, you have done your worksheets, you have appeared your mocks, you know what you know and you know what you don't know, you know both of these parts pretty well. That's precisely what I mean by a good preparation, that you know what are the stuffs that you are supposed to know, and you also know that what are the stuff that you're supposed to know but you don't know because you couldn't learn, or maybe you did try to learn but these things you could not keep them within your head. That can also happen. For some people, that can be a difficulty for certain topics. I don't blame anyone personally. It's just how human brain works. I mean, not all of us are good in everything. So whatever it is, if you know those things, that's a good preparation. So if your preparation is good, out of these 40 questions, you would be able to answer 30 questions in 30 minutes. There'll be no difficulty for that. You'll be done with it, not crosswords. You'll be done with that. For the remaining 40, you now have 10 questions and you have to answer them in a duration of 45 minutes. But you're going to find out in most cases, 5 of these questions are going to take up 20 minutes. Not 20 minutes. 5 of these questions are going to take 10 to 15 minutes maximum. These are going to be a bit difficult questions. For the remaining 5 questions, they can be tricky. There is always, in every single year's question, there is always 2 or 3 questions which prove to be pretty difficult. I mean, they are not out of the syllabus. They're very much within the scope of the syllabus, but they can prove to be difficult by their own virtue, by their own style. For example, let's say, just for an example, let's say someone gives you a theoretical question about the energy resources type. For example, work energy power is a chapter where they can ask you questions about energy resources type, renewable and non-renewable, blah, blah, blah. And they give you an MCQ in such a fashion that in an entire A4 page, let's say 1/3 of the page is the question. So there is dense written 2 paragraphs. Then there is an image of something. So that also covers 1/3 of the whole page, the image. And over the remaining 1/3 of the page, there are 4 option choices. Each of those option choices have 2 to 3 lines in them. So to read the whole question, make sense of the picture and the whole information, and you have to be able to read the 4 option choices, each of which have about 2 to 3 lines in them, and be able to compare them and be able to have the information of the original question, the theme in your head, and be able to compare the 4 option choices and be able to choose the correct answer. You see, these questions can prove to be pretty difficult just because they are so big. Are you getting my point?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
So
No, sir.
this can prove to be pretty big. And one of the interesting that you have to understand that the further you go down the further you grow up, and the more competitive exams you're going to appear where MCQ test is a way to judge you. For example, SATs is actually an MCQ test. For a large part of the SAT is an MCQ test. The GRE is also an SAT test. If you go for the FCA test, anyone know what an FCA test is? Anyone have ever heard
No,
about
sir.
it?
So which test?
FCA is the Financial Chartered Accountants exam. It's an international accredited board, and they give this is something like the I mean higher courses beyond your master's or bachelor's level. The further you go down in the further you grow up and eventually take these competitive tests, you're gonna see that they're gonna judge you on MCQ paper, MCQ questions. But soon you'll find out that you might have to answer only 10 MCQs in 1 hour. But each of those MCQs themselves, the given stem and also the option choices are going to be difficult to work with. So you're going to have those kind of MCQs for in every single one of those papers. And if you, we're going to practice some papers in our worksheets volume anyway. And the worksheets are compiled up to 2013 or 14, I believe. So you have a whole lot of new questions to practice from recent years ago. You can go all the way back. And if you start in the recent years for your own practice for any of the chapters or before any of your school tests or something like that, you'll find out that every question paper has 2 or 3 of these questions which are just mind-boggling. These questions appear difficult, they are difficult, and if you start reading them, I mean, one of the most difficult, I find it difficult in the sense that the large questions, you start reading it from the beginning and then you slowly keep on reading and you have some information remaining. By the time you reach to your B option choice of the MCQ paper, you have forgotten half of the starting information. So you have to start all over. You have to read the whole thing a couple of times to be able to actually extract data and eventually take it into your head. So you can compare the 4 option choices to be successfully able to answer these questions. And these things can prove to be difficult. You might wonder, why does the CA people do that? Well, they do it to make the delineation. They do it to make the segregation between people that who are capable and who are not. That's the whole point of the exam. কিছু বুঝলা?
It's a depressing.
Why are people so cruel?
কষ্ট লাগে কষ্ট
No. This is nothing about cruel. This is about how well equipped you are. I mean, not everyone is Elon Musk. Why? All right. So that's something about this whole thing. Anyone else have any question about this whole thing that we just discussed, or we can go jump into the first chapter's content right away? Measurement.
স্যার কোন চ্যাপ্টারটা বেশি হার্ড হবে?
বুঝি নাই, বলো।
কোন চ্যাপ্টারটা অনেক হার্ড এখানে 11টার মধ্যে?
Oh, it all depends upon how you want to look at it.
আপনার opinion.
If you ask me, এই চ্যাপ্টারে কিছু এমসিকিউ আছে যেগুলো অনেক বেশি প্যারাদায়ক।
সরি, ম্যাটেরিয়াল চ্যাপ্টার থেকে?
এই না, ম্যাটেরিয়াল তো এখন বাদ, মানে হচ্ছে ডেনসিটি বেসড চ্যাপ্টারে কিছু এমসিকিউ আছে যেগুলো অনেক প্যারাদায়ক। অ্যাকচুয়ালি আমি এগুলা নিয়ে খুব সিনসিয়ারলি পড়াশোনা করি না, এই জন্য আমার কাছে এগুলো কঠিন লাগে। আর এগুলো অনেক রেয়ার, যে কারণে এগুলার মানে রেয়ার বলতে হচ্ছে they are so few in number that whenever 2 or 3 difficult questions pops up, you cannot I actually find it difficult to put them in a pattern. So different approaches work different in different times. এই চ্যাপ্টারে কিছু এমসিকিউ আছে যেগুলো একটু কঠিন, which I find difficult to handle. আর হচ্ছে if you ask me in terms of theoretical approach, this waves chapter tend to be difficult for some kids. এটা কেন
একই কথা বলেছে কি ওয়েভ লেভেল ওয়েভস
না, ও লেভেলসে তোমরা ওয়েভ যতটুকু পড়ছো ওখানে তোমরা জাস্ট বেসিক্যালি দুটো ফর্মুলা শিখছো। কি দুটো ফর্মুলা হচ্ছে কি? একটা হচ্ছে
এ লেভেল ওয়েভ।
আচ্ছা, এস লেভেল ওয়েভস, হ্যাঁ বলো, কি আমি বুঝি নাই, সুসাদ বাংলা বলো।
He also hates S level waves, one of our school teachers.
One of your difficult chapters?
It seems like it is.
No, this is not like hit. বলতেছি waves and wave chapter এর বেসিক একটা পার্ট হচ্ছে যে there is a level of understanding to which you have to have a very clear conception. For example, let's say, how can I show this? Monokoro, eta hocche web chapter full understanding level. This is a rectangular block. It hocche web chapter conceptual content. তুমি যদি এই জিনিসটা পুরোপুরি বুঝো, if you have a good grasp on what this whole rectangle contains in terms of knowledge, you would be able to solve all sorts of problems. What happens is that if you start listening to the lectures and start taking information from here, for some people, I mean, for a significantly good number of people, what I have seen, it might also be a shortcoming for me as a teacher. So I'm not at all blaming the kids who have this problem. I take responsibility for it as well. Is that what I've seen is that if I start explaining from here, for many kids, it doesn't make much sense up to a significant portion of the discussion. Some people, I mean, have all the building blocks or have all the pieces of the puzzle of the web chapter within their hands, but they cannot make it work. Suddenly, somewhere over here, about 50% or about 60% level, this whole thing becomes very clear to them. So there is a sort of like, do you guys know what titration is? Titration?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Chemistry.
Yeah, chemistry
Yes,
titration.
sir.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes,
So
yes.
you have a dripping drop of acid falling down, and then you're looking for the color change of the methyl orange or the phenolphthalein purple blue color,
Yes,
and
sir.
suddenly it becomes red if it's methyl orange, or suddenly it becomes colorless for that one fraction of drop. That's your titration point, right? So in the wave chapter, there happens to be, if you ask me, is the certain level. This level is not same for everyone. Different people have this at different level. That suddenly the whole thing makes sense, and when it makes sense, the whole wave chapter becomes really seeable. I mean, you can actually have the whole thing. It works for you. For some people, that level can be very much on the far side, and they can become very frustrated with the wave chapter that I am actually giving effort, I'm trying to understand, but it's not working for me. I mean, what's the big deal? So, I mean, and this is something that I have seen over the years of my teaching, that wave chapter has a sort of like a titration point where it suddenly altogether starts to make sense to many of the students. And this might also be a reason for how I teach the waves chapter. I mean, this can be a shortcoming from my end as well, that I cannot actually make it as modular as I can for all of these chapters. Modular in this case, I mean that every single small bit of part would make sense of their own anyway. But for wave chapter, I'm still not that much skilled, I believe, that it all starts making sense continuously. That's one problem. And then also stuffs are new. The wave chapter have some new stuffs over here. And regardless, there is one thing that goes that kids have a far more difficulty to understand, is that the entire concept of electromagnetic wave requires a huge deep level of physics-based understanding. I mean, if I ask you that what is an electromagnetic wave, if you are asked what is an electromagnetic wave, because I have to teach you about how light waves behave in terms of Young's double slit experiment with the diffraction grating, and what is the superposition and whatnot, how they are going to march together in terms of intensity, how the pattern is going to look like for a single state, how they are going to look like for a double state, and why do we have those differences, and blah blah blah. We have a lot of this discussion about how visible light behave. Now, visible light happens to be an electromagnetic waves. Now, if you are asked, or if I am asked from a student that, sir, what is an electromagnetic wave? It's difficult for me to explain. It's difficult for anyone to explain, at least at your level. One of the ways that I always go by is that electromagnetic wave is basically the rate of information transfer whenever a charged particle vibrates. So that what this essentially means is that if you have let's say I would like to turn on my video over here. Where is my video? There is my video. So one of the ways, one of the things that I would like you to understand for the case of electromagnetic wave, what I'm trying to tell you over here is not the exact thing how electromagnetic wave works, but this can help you visualize or understand how electromagnetic wave actually behave. Is that, let's say you have a piece of charge. Let's say you have a piece of positively charged sphere. So try to visualize a very macro case. So I'm using a sphere. It can also be a very small hydrogen nucleus, or it's only a proton. So assume it's a positive charge sphere, and try to visualize that in a three-dimensional orientation, you have spreading out electric field lines going out of the sphere in radial directions towards infinity. Now, if I move this sphere by one oscillation, let's say I'm going to move it one oscillation. So I'm going to move it to the right, get it back to the center once again. This is going to cause a variation in the orientation of these lines. Do I make sense?
Yes, sir.
This is going to cause a variation in the orientation of these field lines. The rate at which this variation of information, I mean, you made a vibration. This information that at the core, there was a vibration. This information of changing the source would be available at a rate of 3 × 10⁻⁸ meter per second down the electric field lines path. So if a person or if an observer is at 3 × 10⁸ meter away from the source, he's gonna sense that vibration exactly 1 second after this source had made this observation. So through this entire electric field orientation, this information would be passed down at a rate of 3 × 10⁻⁸ meter per second. Now, the way this information is passed through is what we call the electromagnetic wave. Because whenever we have a charge, whether stationary or moving, you have an electric field. It's a default property of the charge. And whenever you have moving charge, you have shape-changing electric field. So if you have a charge particle moving, you have some parts of the electric field getting spread out, some part of the electric field lines are getting squashed because of the movement. And whenever field lines experience this kind of variations, that basically give rise to magnetic properties. Now, how does the electric property give rise to magnetic property? That happens to, I mean, that can be explained using Gaussian surfaces, which requires a little bit of touch of Newton's special relativity theory to explain it properly. So you see, even explaining how the electromagnetic wave exists to begin with requires a really far-fetched, high-scale concept of Newton's of Albert Einstein's special relativity theory. So explaining the electromagnetic wave by its own virtue is actually quite difficult. So some students, in some cases, get stuck on this preliminary concept that what they feel like is that I cannot even visualize, I cannot even make sense what an electromagnetic wave is. What's the whole point of learning what is diffraction, what is superposition? I don't even understand what the wave itself is. So learning its behavior doesn't make sense. I totally agree with you, but that's the part that we have to understand. I mean, it's something like, if I want to give you a more culpable, is culpable a good word here? Culpable example? I think culpable is a good word here. If I want to give you a bit more culpable example, hear me out. Let's say you go to a restaurant, you take the menu and you order bacon burger, beef cheese bacon burger. They deliver you the burger, you eat it, you pay the money, you move out. You are happy. You are happy that, because typically a bacon cheeseburger actually is pretty tasty food. For that consumption, you don't usually have to bother how did this bacon cheeseburger came into existence. I mean, where did the butter bread come from? Where did the bacon come from? Where did the patty come from? Who made the cheese? What are the constituent parts of the cheese? What kind of microbacteria were responsible for the bread construction, for the marinating process of the patty, for the sauce and everything, for the ketchup? I mean, you don't have to bother about all this stuff. So when you have a ready burger, you eat it, you are happy. This part of the syllabus is somewhat like that. I mean, you don't have to bother about all the itsy-bitsy part that ultimately leads up to the wave behavior. You are being taught how, in a chronological order, we human beings came to learn about those things. What do you need to understand? That we the humans did not came to know about the electromagnetic property of light wave at the very beginning. It is a really far out late idea that we actually achieved as a human species. So at first, Isaac Newton thought that lights are particles, and different particles have different shape. That's why we have different color. And then Thomas Young said that no, light is a wave because the behavior of light is similar to how we observe waves. So then they thought that, then people thought that we only know waves which go through medium. So they had to figure out an imaginary medium through which light should be able to travel through a vacuum. So they came up with the name ether, that ether is an imaginary, very low density medium which is present everywhere, even within the empty space of the atom or the empty space between the whole galaxies and everything. Ether is everywhere because light can travel everywhere. And then far later, we had the idea of electromagnetic waves. So the way your syllabus or the way any syllabus is designed is that the way we human beings learned about different steps of information, step by step, the syllabus is designed in this way. So you are currently going to learn about the physical behavior or the properties of the wave properties, which we human beings learned at a certain point of time. Far later than that, the whole idea of electromagnetic waves was introduced to us as human species. So you're not going to be learning that whole thing at your A levels. Maybe if you take physics or if you take optics as a significant topic of your further bachelor's or master's level education, maybe then you'll come to know about this whole experiments and the whole mathematical Gaussian surfaces and the whole other stuffs. So my request, I mean, why am I telling you all this stuff? I'm not trying to scare you guys. What I'm trying to give you a bit of a heads up is that you need to have an open mind toward the fact that everything that you have a question about will not be answered at your level to its full content, because that explanation is a far out, I mean, that explanation is too much far out for your requirement and also for your understanding capability in general for the A-level scale. Some of you can be more capable, some of you can be less capable. If you think you are more capable, you really want to have this thirst quenched, you can go on your own research. I can help you. I can direct you to the necessary resources that you can look out for those things. I can help you in your personal time, but not for the classroom. So you are not going to have all of your questions answered in general, and do not get yourself what can I say, staggered on those blank spaces that I don't have these concepts. How can I make sense of the later part? I am going to help you make sense of the later part for as much as you need for your syllabus volume, that is. বুঝতে পারলাম?
জি স্যার, টেনশন করবো না।
হ্যাঁ, টেনশন করবা না, প্যারা নেবা না, প্যারা নেওয়ার কোনো দরকার নেই। যতটুকু বলতেছি অতটুকু লজিক্যালি মানে কি বলে অ্যাসিমিলেট করতে পারলেই হবে, দ্যাটস ইট। আর যা কিছু অ্যাসিমিলেট করতে না পারবা সেগুলো আরো বেটার কেন অ্যাসিমিলেট করতে হবে সেটার জন্য তো আমি আসি। I'll try my best to help you as best as I can.
স্যার,
yes, বলো।
ইথারটা কি হিগস বোসন?
না 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 না, ether was a hoax kind of thing. hoax মানে কি রকম আমি তোমাকে বলি। Ether was a totally imaginary thing that scientists came up with. Let me give you a similar example. মনে করো, let's say the idea of conventional current. Scientists have had to, when they felt like that the lightning is happening, charges is getting transferred from one place to another place, they had to have a way to explain how charge move from for point A to point B. So out of no physical evidence, they assumed that positive charges move. They had no reason to believe that. They had no physical evidence to support that, but they just considered it to be true and went on to assume that and build up the whole idea of electricity based on a movement of positive charge particles. But eventually it turned out to be wrong, to be untrue. Ether is exactly something like that. Scientists were doing experiment with waves. Now, mechanical waves are usually visible. For example, you can see a wave on a string. You can see the water wave. For vibrating plate, you can actually sense the pressure variation for an air wave or a sound wave. So scientists thought that waves, if it have to exist, it has to exist through a physical medium. Without the presence of a physical medium, waves cannot exist. That was the predominant accepted idea back then. That waves can exist in vacuum was not an acceptable idea because it was not seen or it was not perceived or it was not thought or accepted in generally. So because scientists were experiencing all of their waves around them in mechanical waves. So they also assume that light has to be also a mechanical wave. That light waves can itself can be a different type of wave, which is an electromagnetic wave, was not yet considered a valid idea at that point. So that's why for the propagation of light waves, they came up with the imaginary medium of ether through which the light waves travels from one point to another point. I mean, ether was basically filling the gap, which was all imaginary, for the sake of the what can I say, consistency of the whole project or whole enterprise. That we have this whole idea. Now, if we don't assume a physical medium for light, our whole idea is not full. So, okay, fine. Let's assume an imaginary idea ether so that our whole idea is consistent. That's something like that.
Which is
all right. Any other question?
স্যার আপনি ভাষার মতো মাস্ক পরেছেন কেন?
কি
ভাষার মতো মাস্ক পরে আছেন যে?
বাসার মধ্যে মাস্ক পরে আছি কারণ হচ্ছে আমার এই মাইক্রোফোন মুখের কাছে লাগানোর যে হেডপিসটা আছে ওইটা খুঁজে পাচ্ছি না, বাসায় আছে কোথাও। সো মাইক্রোফোনটাকে এখানে রাখার জন্য মাস্ক পরে আছি যাতে আমার কথা স্পষ্ট শোনা যায়।
স্যার
হ্যাঁ বলো।
স্যার টাইমিং ডিসকাস করবেন কখন?
টাইমিং এখন ডিসকাস করা যায়, আই থিংক ইটস অ্যাবাউট নিয়ারলি 1 আওয়ার। আচ্ছা শুনো পোলাপান, সেটা হচ্ছে যে তোমাদের সানডেতে প্রবলেম আছে, প্রবলেম হচ্ছে কার কার?
স্যার আমার প্রবলেম হয়।
আচ্ছা যাদের প্রবলেম হয় তারা একটু হাত উঠাও।
কিসের প্রবলেম?
আর কেউ? আচ্ছা সানডে তোমাদের এই ক্লাসটা কটা থেকে করা বন্ধ প্রবলেম হয়?
স্যার সেম টাইমে স্যার 7:30 থেকে 9:30।
আচ্ছা তোমাদের ওই স্যারকে কে বলো না যে আমি এই সময় যে ক্লাস দিচ্ছি?
স্যার আমি বলছি স্যার ব্যাচ 1 ফিল আপ হয়ে গেছে, ব্যাচ 2 তে করতে হবে, না হলে আর হবে না। স্যার আপনার ওই অফলাইন ক্লাসে সমস্যাটা হতো না, কারণ অন্য টাইমে ক্লাস করে না, বাট অনলাইনে আপনার সাথে এখন ক্লাস করতেছি।
না মানে আমি যদি ফিজিক্যাল ক্লাস নিই তাও আমি হয়তো এই টাইমেই নিতাম। আর হচ্ছে আমি এই যে এই 11টা থেকে 1টা আর 7:30 থেকে 9:30 রবিবার মঙ্গলবার এই টাইমিং এ আমি এএস দের ক্লাস নিচ্ছি লাস্ট 4 বছর থেকে, 4টা সেশন থেকে। দ্য রিজন এই টাইমটা অন্য কোনো স্যাররা ব্ল্যাক মানে অন্য কোনো স্যাররা ক্লাস দেয় না, বিকজ মোস্ট অফ দ্য টিচার্স নো যে আমি এই সময় অল্টারনেটিভ ক্লাস দিই টিপিক্যালি। সো আর হচ্ছে আরেকটা জিনিস যেটা করতে পারি সেটা হচ্ছে যে আজকে কি তোমরা ক্লাস মিস করে জয়েন করছো?
স্যার লাস্টের আধা ঘন্টা করি নাই, ছেড়ে দিয়ে আসছি।
স্যার বকা দিছে?
স্যার এখন জানি না স্যার, অ্যাটেন্ডেন্স দিছে আবার, এখন দেখি কি করে।
কে আসবে?
হ্যাঁ হ্যাঁ
আমিও পড়ি ব্যাচ 1 এ। স্যারকে একটু রিকোয়েস্ট করো, একটু বেশি রিকোয়েস্ট করলে দিতে পারে।
আচ্ছা শোনো আব্দুল্লাহ আর দীপ্ত, তোমরা দুজন কি স্যারকে একটু রিকোয়েস্ট করতে পারো তোমাদেরকে ব্যাচ 1 এ নেওয়ার জন্য? মানে ইজ ইট পসিবল টু ডু দ্যাট? জাস্ট
স্যার আলেক রিকোয়েস্ট করা হয়েছিল, বাট বলে দিয়েছে যে শুনবে না। দেখে আমার মাও রিকোয়েস্ট করেছিল, সেটাও শুনেনি।
ওকে
স্যার আপনি একটু রিকোয়েস্ট করে দেখেন।
it doesn't work that way, kid. If communication was that much streamlined, life would have been a peach. Good stuff. আচ্ছা আচ্ছা শোনো, তোমাদের এই টাইমিং বেস প্রবলেমটা আমি তোমাদেরকে টুইসডেতে সলিউশন দিব। আমি হচ্ছে এই যে এক্সিস্টিং যে ক্লাস 10 ব্যাচ আছে ওদের ক্লাসটা এখনো শুরু করি নাই। আজকে তোমাদের ক্লাস শুরু করলাম 10 আসার পর, ওদের সাথে একটু আলাপ করে নেই। তারপর হচ্ছে তোমাদের দরকার হলে তোমাদের ক্লাস একটু আগে পরে পিছিয়ে যেতে পারি। ঠিক আছে?
ওকে স্যার।
স্যার সানডেতে তো আমার জ্যাম প্যাক শিডিউল, তো আমি তো সানডেতে হবে না, অন্য কোনো দিন হলে ভালো হতো।
আচ্ছা ঠিক আছে, আমি অন্য কোনো দিনের জন্য এটা মাথায় রাখলাম। টিউসডেতে তোমাদের ক্লাস 7:30 নিব, ওইটা আর ওই দিন তোমাদের এটা নিয়ে সলিউশন দিতেছি ইনশাআল্লাহ।
টিউসডেতে প্রবলেম হবে না, শুধু সানডেতেই প্রবলেম।
ঠিক আছে, ওকে। সো it was not a fruitful solution but we discussed something. আমি এটা টিউসডেতে তোমাদের সাথে এটা আমি নিয়ে আবার ফার্দার আলাপ করতেছি। আচ্ছা, we can actually start the whole idea of measurement chapter এর আচ্ছা measurement
তার
chapter
আগে
আমি
একটু বুক কোনগুলা ইউজ করবো ওগুলা বলে দিতে
আচ্ছা
পারবেন?
তোমরা হচ্ছে এই যে আমার কাছে তো এখন বইয়ের ছবি নাই। আচ্ছা আমি পার্সোনালি হচ্ছে প্যাসিফিক ফিজিক্সের বইটা অনেক বেশি পছন্দ করি। প্যাসিফিক ফিজিক্স তোমরা কিনছো কিনা আমি জানি না, বা কিনতে পাওয়া যায় কিনা আমি জানি না, কারণ এটা
পাওয়া যায় স্যার, কিন্তু স্যার অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি তো নতুন অ্যাড হয়েছে, এটা আছে অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি।
দাঁড়াও
নতুন
তোমাকে
বুকগুলোতে
দেখাই।
অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি আছে।
তোমাদেরকে কি আমি ছবি পাঠাইছিলাম, মনে হয় পাঠাইছিলাম কি?
স্যার আমাকে
না
দিছে
স্যার, পটু নাই।
স্যার ডেভিড স্যাংয়ের বইটা স্যার
তোমাদের গ্রুপ জানি কোন। আচ্ছা আমি কোনোভাবে এই গ্রুপের নাম চেঞ্জ করতে পারতেছি না কেন?
স্যার আমি করে দেব।
I cannot change the name of this group. এই দেখো ক্লিক করতেছি,
কাস্টমাইজ চ্যাটে যান তো।
স্যার এই বইটা
ও পারছি। মোবাইল থেকে না হচ্ছিল না। হ্যাঁ ঠিক আছে, it's just got a promotion. এখানে হচ্ছে জিলাপির ছবি, এইটা না, দাঁড়া প্যাসিফিক ফিজিক্সকে কই জানি ছবি দিছি আল্লাহ জানে।
স্যার গুগলে সার্চ দেন।
দেখাচ্ছি আমি, দাঁড়াও। এই যে প্যাসিফিক ফিজিক্সের বইয়ের চেহারা হচ্ছে এরকম, ভলিউম 1 ভলিউম 2। আমার কাছে এই আমি বলি তোমাদের, এটাতে তোমাদের লাগবে এরকম না, মানে ইটস নট এসেনশিয়াল দ্যাট ইউ মাস্ট হ্যাভ ইট। এই বই দুইটার যে এক্সপ্লেনেশন লেভেল সেটা হচ্ছে বুঝার জন্য অনেক ভালো, অনেক ভালো। মানে আমি তোমাদেরকে বলি, তোমরা ও লেভেলসে অ্যাবোটের বই যারা পড়ছো, কিউরিওসিটির জন্য হোক বা বোঝার জন্য হোক, তোমরা যেটা দেখছো যে সেখানে সিলেবাসের চেয়ে বেশি অনেক কিছু লেখা আছে, বাট এক্সপ্লেনেশন গুলো অনেক ডিটেইল ছিল না?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, অনেক ডিটেইল এখানে।
হ্যাঁ অনেক ডিটেইল লেখা ছিল, এন্ড ইট অ্যাকচুয়ালি মেড সেন্স, মানে ইজি টু আন্ডারস্ট্যান্ড ওয়ার্ডিং এ লেখা ছিল, মানে হোকাস পোকাস টাইপের না। প্যাসিফিকের বইটা হচ্ছে মোরলেস ওইরকম, মানে কনসেপ্ট গুলো অনেক ভালো বোঝা যায়। আচ্ছা ফর দোজ হু ডোন্ট হ্যাভ দিস অর ইউ ডোন্ট ওয়ান্ট টু হ্যাভ দিস, পারফেক্টলি অলরাইট। যে সকল চ্যাপ্টারের জন্য তোমাদের প্যাসিফিক ফিজিক্সের বই রেফারেন্স লাগবে, আমি ওই সকল চ্যাপ্টারগুলো তোমাদেরকে এখান থেকে ছবি তুলে ক্যাম্প স্ক্যানারে ছবি করে পিডিএফ করে তোমাদের শেয়ার দিয়ে দিব। ইটস নট এ বিগ ডিল, ইটস ভেরি মাচ অ্যাচিভেবল এন্ড ইটস ভেরি মাচ ডুয়েবল। ফর দ্য টাইম বিং তোমাদের লাগবে হচ্ছে এটা, এখানে যে ছবিটা দিচ্ছে আমাকে, মনে হয় যে ছবিটা দিছো, এটা হচ্ছে তোমাদের কোর্স বুক। এটা হচ্ছে তোমাদের কোর্স বুকের রিসেন্ট এডিশন হচ্ছে, এটা সেকেন্ড এডিশন হচ্ছে এটা, সো এটা তোমাদের লাগবে, এটা নিতে পারো। আর অ্যাপার্ট ফ্রম দ্যাট আরটা হচ্ছে
হর্ডার এডুকেশনের।
হ্যাঁ স্যার, হোটেল এডুকেশন একটা ছিল আমার কাছে।
এই যে এটা অর্ডার এডিশন বই, এটা
স্যার এগুলো সবগুলো নতুনটা আসছে, নতুনটাতে অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি আছে।
দাঁড়াও, অর্ডার এডিশনের বইয়ের চেহারা একটু ডিফারেন্ট। এই যে হরার এডুকেশনের ক্যামব্রিজ ইন্টারন্যাশনাল এএসএ লেভেলের ছবিটা হচ্ছে এরকম, এই যে ক্যামব্রিজ ইন্টারন্যাশনাল টিচার সিটি হরার এডুকেশন। এই বইগুলা সম্ভবত আমার কাছে পিডিএফ হিসেবে আছে, সো আমি এগুলা গুগলে আপ করে তোমাদেরকে ডাউনলোড লিংক দিয়ে দিতে পারবো। সো ইফ ইউ ডোন্ট ওয়ান্ট টু বাই দেম ইউ ক্যান স্কিপ বাইং দেম, or if you want to buy them you can buy them, no big deal. দাঁড়াও একটু দেখি কোনখানে জানি আছে এগুলা।
নীল খেতে পাবো না?
নীলক্ষেতে পাবা, নীলক্ষেতে তো সবই পাওয়া যায়। দাঁড়াও
স্যার আমাদের সিলেবাসে কি অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি আছে এখন স্যার?
স্যার
এক মিনিট দাঁড়াও, বইগুলো জানি
স্যার এ লেভেলে কলিন্সের বই কি মনে করেন আপনি, কলিন্সের বইগুলো?
এই যে এটা হচ্ছে মাইক ক্যান্ডেল বই, হটার বই, পুরাটার পিডিএফ 416 পৃষ্ঠা। এটার সাইজ কতটুক? 66 এমবি। ইয়াতে মেসেঞ্জারে যাবে না।
স্যার ডিসকর্ডে যাবে স্যার?
আমি এটা ইয়াতে কি বলে গুগল ড্রাইভে আপ করে পাবলিক করে তোমাদেরকে লিংক দিয়ে দিচ্ছি, তোমরা নামায় নিও। লিংকটা মানে ইনডেফিনিট পিরিয়ড পর্যন্ত অ্যাভেলেবল থাকবে না, সো ডাউনলোড ইট অ্যাজ ফাস্ট অ্যাজ ইউ ক্যান। এটা হচ্ছে একটা আমার কাছে ইন্টারন্যাশনাল এএসএনএ লেভেল ফিজ কোর্স বুকের সেকেন্ড এডিশনের পিডিএফটা আছে, এটা কোথা থেকে নামাইছিলাম।
স্যার আমার কাছে হচ্ছে স্যার একই রাইটারের বই আছে, বাট ইটস পার্পল ইন কালার।
স্যার
এটা থার্ড এডিশন তোমারটা?
থার্ড এডিশন
লেটেস্ট
বেরিয়েছে নাকি?
হ্যাঁ স্যার, নতুনটাতে অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি অ্যাড করা হয়েছে নতুন গুলোতে।
আচ্ছা সমস্যা নাই, অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি আর ক্লাস অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি তোমাদেরকে পড়ালাম। অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি খুব একটা হামারি কঠিন কিছু না, তোমাদের লেভেলে অ্যাস্ট্রোনমির জন্য তোমাদেরকে জাস্ট তোমাদেরকে তো হাবলস ইকুয়েশন দিয়ে পড়াবে না, বা তোমাদের রেড শিফট বা ব্লু শিফটের বেসিক কনসেপ্ট থাকতে পারে এট বেস্ট। এখনই দেখি অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি তোমাদের কতটুকু অ্যাড করছে। সিলেবাস তো এই খুললাম, কই নাইট্রো কই, where is nitro?
হাবলস ল আছে,
হাবলস ল আছে, হাবলস ইকুয়েশন তো তোমাদেরকে দিবে না।
এসব কি?
এগুলো হচ্ছে ঘোড়ার ডিম।
স্যার আপনি কি আসলে ওই চিকেন গেমটা খেলেন এখনো?
এগুলো নিয়ে আমরা কথা না বলি।
ওকে স্যার, আফটার দ্য রেকর্ডিং।
আমি মাঝে মাঝে গেম খেলি এখনো। এটা ইন্ডেক্স পেজ নাই, আচ্ছা সার্চ করলে তো হয়। কন্ট্রোল এফ অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি, ASTRONOMY, পেজ 6 লাখ অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি এন্ড কসমোলজি ফোর্সেস এন্ড আছে এখানে অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি কসমোলজি এস লাগানোর প্র্যাকটিক্যাল স্কিলস আছে অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি কসমোলজি এই আসছে। Candidate should be able to understand the term luminosity as a total power radiation by a star. Okay, luminosity equation and recurrent is the square law of fast luminosity. Acha, three-dimensional angle, steradian আসছে. Understand that an object known as luminosity is called a standard candle. Okay. Understand that the use of standard candles to determine distance to galaxies. Okay. Star radius. Recall and use the Wien's distance law. Lambda maximum the peak surface temperature of a star. Use the Stefan Boltzmann law. Equals to 4 sigma r squared to the 4. Beautiful. Wien's distance and the 7% to estimate the radius of a star. Good. How about sun Big Bang theory? Understand that the lines of the emission spectrum from distant objects show an increase in wavelength for their known values. Okay, এটা হচ্ছে Doppler shift basic equation. আচ্ছা Doppler shift আমাদের ওয়েভ স্টেপটা এমনিতে ছিল। Is on why the redshift leads to the idea that the universe is expanding. Recall and use the Hubble's law. Evolution of Hubble constant distance and how this leads to the Big Bang theory should be only required to use SI units. ভালো জিনিসপত্র আছে। This is good stuff.
স্যার এটার জন্য কি কোনো বই রেকমেন্ড করবেন স্যার?
স্যার একটা মারাত্মক বইয়ের নাম বলে দেন।
ইয়েস স্যার।
আচ্ছা এইটা হচ্ছে একটা দরকারি বিষয়, এটা আমি একটা স্ক্রিনশট নিয়ে রাখি। আচ্ছা না আমার মনে থাকবে, এটা আমার অ্যাকচুয়ালি প্রিন্ট করে আমার পড়া লাগবে, এটা আমার হাতে কাছে থাকা লাগবে, এটা দিয়ে অনেক দরকারি জিনিসপত্র। ফাইন, সমস্যা নাই। Discharging the capacitor have been added to the levels. 4 বছর ধরে পড়ে আসতেছি, সিলেবাস ছিল না, তারপর শেষ পর্যন্ত ঢুকাইছে সিলেবাসে। আচ্ছা সমস্যা নাই, এটা নিয়ে আমি ঘাটাঘাটি করবি না, আমি এখানে ঘাটাঘাটি করি নাই। তোমাদের যা যা নতুন জিনিস পড়া লাগে নতুন জিনিস তোমাদেরকে পড়ায় দেওয়া, সমস্যা নেই। সো অ্যাস্ট্রোনমি ক্যান বি ইনক্লুডেড as our topic number 12, which should have a different topic because it's a totally different things from all the stuff that I have discussed over here. Astronomy এখানে কোনো কিছুর সাথে individually হয় না, fit হয় না। So astronomy should be chapter number 12, or we might actually squeeze it as chapter number 6 if you want it to be there. I would appreciate it to be 12. 6 blank আছে, blank থাকবে। বলো।
বলতে ভুলে গেলাম কি বলবো স্যার।
আচ্ছা সমস্যা নাই। আচ্ছা পোলাপান আমি একটু ব্রেক নিব 5 মিনিট, আমি 5 মিনিট পর আবার আসতেছি, তোমরা একটু ব্রেক নাও। উহু আহা এগুলা করো।